guests. We've done 150 pitches exactly last time, and we raised thousands of baht for charity and donated, I guess in somewhere near 100 computers to support underprivileged children with studies. Some of those computers were donated by amazing people like Willem sitting over there, and all of them were formatted by amazing Nassim, who is somewhere here. Thank you very much, Mr. Nassim. And yeah, I'm sorry for embarrassing you, but that's the price you pay for being with that. So our agenda is very simple. At 7:10, we're going to be a short introduction. I won't go into too much. At 7:10, we'll have a 45-minute panel with some amazing panelists. At 7:45, we will then have our entrepreneur pitches presented by and led by amazing Nina, who's over there. At 8, we will have our charity spotlight headed by Nassim, and then we will have a reciprocity ring, and then we will have beer and pizza and networking. And at 8:45, I will start herding you towards the door with increasing violence, because this place is donated to us, and I want the people who work over here to be able to return to their families on time, more or less. So, today we'll be talking about AI. And while the term AI, do you know when the term AI was first coined? Anyone have a clue? 1950? 1950s, that's right. 1956 by a computer scientist called John McCarthy. He was organizing the Dartmouth College workshop to discuss the development of thinking machines. And in all honesty, the space has kind of really taken off in the last few years. Somebody had my clip with a fancy slide there. Very good. Stuff in the place and forget it forever. And cargo pants. It's somewhere on me. It'll come out of the wash. Oh, there it is.
That's ChatGPT.
Exactly. And now this doesn't work. Ah, joy. Okay, yeah, so this is the Google trend search, and you can kind of see the past 5 years globally. You can really see where searches for AI beginning to take off. And I have to say that AI, and Jonathan, you're welcome to Grown. Yes, I too have a product in the space of AI, right? And it's something that we launched about 18 months ago. And it's been interesting and very frustrating ride so far. And my frustration is driven by my inability to reconcile the empirically proven fact that while our technology is delivering very tangible and substantial value to clients, it's maddeningly difficult to drive companies and people to adopt, even when you offer free trials. Mind-boggling. And this experience is a source of some insights that I hope you find interesting. And the first one that I want to share is, don't believe the hype. So number one, don't believe the hype. I think that AI is an innovation which is probably, the disruptive potential is probably on the scale of the evolution of smartphones. That's how I feel about it. I don't argue about it, but that's how I feel. And it's still in its infancy. So I mean, think about the iPhone in end of 2007, that's probably where AI is today. And we're going to see a lot of good progress, and we're also going to witness a few embarrassing mistakes. So if anybody remembers this, right? You see the older ones in the room know what this thing is. The people in the back, they have no clue what we're talking about. They've never seen this thing. Right? So I think that it's important to understand that this is normal for any technological innovation. I'm sure that there were a lot of caves that were burned out when we first thought about fire, right? This is the same thing. The second thing is that default bias is a very, very powerful and underestimated force. So think about the first food that you're going to get in a far-off location when you don't have too much strength to think about what you're ordering. Where's the place you're going? I'll bet that most of us are thinking about this place. Right? And we don't even like the food. We don't, right? But we're default and triggered to think about it. And the reason this is so is because of the default bias, which was first described by Nobel Prize winners Kahneman and Tversky, both passed away now. And it's a heuristic that says that it's very difficult for us to make changes to our habitual behaviors, even when the alternative is empirically proven to be better, and even when it's easy to make a change. And the reason is that why is this so? Why do you think this is so? Anybody have a clue? It's an energy-saving tactic. Okay. Our brains tend to treat the status quo as a decision we've already made, right? If I'm already here and I'm not dead, that means that being here is fine, right? If I move over here, who knows, I might be dead, right? It's risky. So making a change is something that our brain prefers not to do unless we are suffering and we're in extreme danger. If we're in extreme danger, we will make a change. Otherwise, organisms won't shift too much. Pip and I were talking earlier about the turtle, right? Turtles don't move around too much. They've been here since before the dinosaurs, and will be here after we're gone. And then the last thing is that too much of a good thing is a bad thing, right? And I think that the buzz around AI is in some ways is the worst thing that's happening to this technology. Firstly, by advertising it as a solution for everything, everywhere, all the time, what we're inherently manufacturing is a situation where people believe it's not a solution for anything, anytime, ever, right? If I tell you that I'm good at everything, you go, yeah, sure. Fantastic, we know. And the moment we have that, right, and AI makes an inevitable mistake, that's where we go, oh, I told you it's shit, you know, made a mistake. And Greg, I think, was in the room when Barbara first presented AI in the Sassin, Thailand forum, right? And one of the very wise professors in the room said, this technology is total garbage. I asked it about myself, and it gave a wrong reply. So this person trashed an entire technology, which is now probably worth close to X trillion dollars, because he asked it the question about himself, and it got the wrong answer. The expectation was very high, delivery was low, doesn't touch it anymore. The second thing is that by offering endless opportunities for improvement, right, we are doing something that McDonald's are very good at avoiding. We are creating inevitable dilemmas of choice for the companies that we are pitching, and we are also setting them up for FOMO. Because if I can do everything in my company will get better if I start adopting AI, then I can't choose which AI to do first, right? And maybe if I adopt an AI this week, I'll just miss the opportunity because next week will be the even better AI, right? And I'm screwed because now I've committed to this vendor, I've committed to this solution, and I can't make a change. And I'm sure, Aditia, that you've seen, right? What happens in these larger organizations is what happens when they don't want to make a decision. They set up a strategy meeting, right? They have a group of people who sit down, start thinking for a long time, they delay it to the next quarter, they kill it by committee. And if you look at the calendar, the social calendar in Bangkok, right? We've had amazing events about AI, a lot of people speaking, a lot of discussions, very little adoption, very little movement forward. So, how do you get past that? I think that, first of all, I can guarantee that the money spent on meetings is probably much more than the cost of actually choosing one solution and adopting it for a trial period of a month. Way more. The value of the hours of the people in the room, much higher than the actual cost of paying a vendor. Here, here's a small project, do it for me. I want it done in 2 months, or a month, or a week. So, what can I offer you going forward? I say that, first of all, AI isn't going anywhere. Like smartphones, it's here to stay. This is a part of our life. Accept it, it's a fact. And I was stunned to discover that some of the lovely people in the back of the room go to an institute of higher learning where they are being actively discouraged from using AI. To me, that's like sending a kid to school and tying their writing hand behind their back and saying, that's fantastic, you can go to school, but write with your nose. That's a better, that's a better utilization of time. That's insanity to me. So choose anything, something, and do it. And take into account that there's a good chance that this will be a failure. But at least now you failed once, right? And the next time you'll do a little bit better. Second of all, chill, you know. Yeah, it's okay. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy gave the best tech advice ever. Don't panic. Everything else will happen of itself. And third, if you're doing that test, right, it's like you're going to the pool. When you go to the pool, if you're old like us, right, you don't jump into the pool. You gently squiggle your toes in the water, right? Make sure that the water's not freezing, and you slowly ease yourself in. Same thing. Ease yourself in, but do it now. Don't wait. So, with that, I think I've completed my spiel, and I'd like to introduce Greg, who is a lawyer, and he's also a very lovely human being. And he's also a member of the faculty at Khun University, where he teaches a course on contracts, I think?
Business International Law.
Okay, Business International Law, and I have a huge respect for his intellect. Please.
Nice intro. I'm going to introduce our three panelists one at a time, and I'm going to start with Khun Mam. Khun is a sustainability and impact lead for Paolo IT, Thailand, and drives the Tech for Good initiatives and successfully ensures positive impact. Our next to the stage is Mr. Aditia Nayan. He is the lead partnership at Wadhwani AI, an applied AI institute, working on AI for social impact in the global south. And I believe the headquarters is based in India. Right? The third speaker, Khun Karn, has 20 years of experience developing scalable systems for business, passionate about using AI to expand access and opportunities via intelligent platforms for business, education, and communities. Sounds like a lot. Okay, I have three prepared questions. Oh, yes. So we have one mic for the three of you, so you can pass it around. Okay, so we have three questions, prepared questions. The first question is...
We need a time.
Oh, yes.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Okay.
Just?
Okay, so we have three prepared questions. Each of the panelists will answer the question within 3 minutes, and then we'll pass it to the next person. Yes. Yes. So the first question, what is something you wish people talked about more often? I assume with respect to AI. So, ma'am, start with you.
So, disclaimer, I am of a background in human rights and the social aspect dimension of sustainability. That's my background. So I take my role at the company is to help my teammates, developers, everyone integrate in sustainable IT, including the human rights protection component into what we do. So having said that, I'm not trying to say that AI is the worst thing ever or anything, but there are genuine, legit things that people should know about AI, linked to its infrastructure, ecosystem, the true cost of having it. So one is that the finite rare earth minerals that are mined to build the infrastructure of AI data centers are often from mining from conflict zones. So there are issues of human trafficking, forced labor, child labor causing from this. Then there's the issue about the data centers of AI consuming so much energy and water usage. What this means is that it can cause water stress or energy demand stress in the communities next to the AI centers. Then there is the fact that current, most popular models of AI tools are controlled by very few tech companies. There's a power imbalance there. It's not like, even OpenAI, their name is OpenAI, but it's not OpenAI. It's not accessible by all, so there's an issue of the control of the AI. And if they're building it transparently with the Human Rights Center or experts or diversity to check against all the risks that comes along with AI, algorithm bias, hallucinations, or other potential misuse of AI. Okay? Let me see if there's one. So if you allow AI to run and it's been trained on bad data or incomplete data or biased data, it could become like invisible. Certain, I would say, vulnerable population or key concerns could become invisible to the AI. And if you're using such AI on to address issues of inequality, it's never going to catch it. So you're using a tool to solve for something that you can't even see. This is the key concern. And then I think my last point is the long-term psychological impact of using AI. Like just an example, we use smartphones. Like I grew up in a generation where I didn't get my first smartphone until I was in my mid-20s. Back in the days, we had to remember all the phone numbers. And now with scrolling and with this technology, I can't remember maybe beyond 5 telephone numbers of my immediate family members before I can remember them. But these like long-term psychological impact where if everyone's rushing to use ChatGPT to make all of this for the idea generation, how does that impact people over time? Sorry.
Okay, Khun, Aditia, same question. Sorry, Mr. Aditia, same question. What's something you wish people talked about more often?
Yeah, thank you. So firstly, it's great to be here. And I think some of the points that were covered by Mike and earlier by Khun, I definitely agree with. And there's points there that are definitely valid. So the first one is, which Mike mentioned, we think that AI is always correct, whereas the opposite is true. It will never always be perfect. There is always error in AI. We often, when we use ChatGPT or other tools, you would see at the bottom, don't trust, or don't believe it. Yeah, it says cross-check everything. And I think that sort of, somewhere leads down to this sort of, because of the marketing and all of that, we just think that just because a system is giving an output, that output is correct, And I think that's sort of a bit of a, maybe it's a trick or it's a certain level of trust that we have because we're used to, let's say, smartphones or other technologies or, things like press a button and something happens, so you just expect the same thing. But there's a lot of error in AI. I think it's generally sometimes difficult to understand, discern where that error is happening. And what's also somewhat sort of problematic is that how do you think about model evaluations? When we're sort of using AI, you open up something on your phone and you want it to reply to an email or you just want to ask it something and get some information. That's a low stress, not very sort of complicated situation. But when you're, let's say, if you're a doctor or you're a lawyer and you're in a situation where the outputs of the AI can have very real effects on what decisions you can make, then we really need to make sure that those models are tested and we know when the AI is correct and when it's not correct. And there's certainly some sort of technical approaches, so on and so forth. I think the other thing is that I look at is that I think after ChatGPT, a lot of people think that AI is large language models and ChatGPT. And there is a lot of useful AI applications that are not large language models, they're not foundational models, they're not ChatGPT. And they can be extremely useful or not, maybe even harmful. They get us to do things, so things like recommendation engines on Amazon, your Facebook feed and what gets served to you. There's AI sort of behind that. So I think that is sort of a good conversation also to have. Is not all AI is ChatGPT or LLMs. There are other kinds of AI.
Thank you, Aditia. And over to Karn. What's something you wish people talked about more often?
Yes, there is a lot. And first, I believe is AI regulation. So how do you regulate a software vendor or an AI provider or even ChatGPT, Gemini? How do you regulate it to not be harmful? How for people who use AI, how to not use it in an illegal way? And if an AI system gives false answers and
go to the next prepared question. I'm going to follow up. Mike, you said that AI has been around since 1956.
The term's been around since 1956.
Okay. You said one of the issues is regulation. So I'm going to ask the audience, how many AI laws do you think are in existence around the world? What would your guess be?
0.
One?
I said not a one.
One. There is one,
There's
which
one.
is the EU AI Act, right? And the question about regulation, I think, is going to revolve around, should you have a one national law for each country, or should it be pieced into a myriad of regulations depending on the industry and the application and the use case? So I think that that's what the law is going to have to figure out, is how do you regulate it? Is it one pan law, or is it multiple laws? Next prepared question. What is the biggest opportunity you see for reducing inequality via AI? Ma'am, let's start with you.
Well, I think just based on my first answer, is the big opportunity is if AI was built right from the get-go with a diverse team of experts, including the human rights people, including the very subject expert matter, solving for that particular issue. I think that would go a long way. You have to build it with an objective to reduce the inequality. It has to be specifically designed and focused on that. And I think there is progress towards that, because I've seen the Stanford University has a center focused on this, the human-centered approach of AI. And I'll stop there for this one, but I'll add on to what Khun said earlier. I also interact with the Joint Chamber of Commerce here in Thailand, and there's a gentleman there named Bob Fox, who's a legal expert, and he's been leading also on AI governance discussions over strong-arming the regulations, because some criminal misuse of AI will be covered by those misuse criminal laws anyway. But the more focus now should be having a governance system to encourage the AI companies to agree to a specific standard for good code of conduct.
Aditia.
At some level, I'm not fully sure I agree with myself the question. So I think there's a lot of issues, and maybe there's sort of often one about as inequality or something or the other. So let's say when we talk about sort of foundational models, right from the land where the data centers, the chips themselves, the materials of the chips, the cooling and the heating systems, and how you sort of provide energy for all of that, and then the data that the models are trained for, like it's your data, it's my data, it's some writer, New York Times writer, or some other journalist, it's all of their information on Reddit, on the internet that's being used. And so I think there's sort of in each part there are things to be fixed. Because of the promise and the potential of something like this, and I think it's been a while since there's a technology that came out that sort of captured the average person's imagination in the way that this has, especially after 2022, November 22. So I think there's been sort of this arms race, and everyone's just trying to sort of pocket resources, get stuff done, generate data. Now we're out of training data for these LLMs, so you generate your data. But so there's things to be fixed, but I'm not sure if it's an inequality thing, because if the other way to think about it is, if today anyone in this room wanted to build their own AI model, it's never been easier. It has never been easier. It's never been cheaper to do that. It's never been easier to connect with other people who you could learn from or collaborate with. So the way, and that's not just an AI thing. It's because we have the internet, we have social media, we have communities, we have gatherings, and so things come together and actually make it really accessible for anyone. And a lot of the foundational models, although they do, if you want the best ones, you have to pay for them. Well, the free ones are pretty good for something that's for free. So there are issues across the value chain and the supply chain. There's certainly need for regulation. But I think, like many other industries, that some organizations get ahead than others. That may be the nature of industries. there may not be inequality in Karn factors. Yeah, I'm not sure I agree, but I think there are issues to be fixed in order to make products better, because eventually I think we see it as, what's the price you pay for the product that you're getting, and usually you'll end up paying that price, buying that when you think the perceived value is worth it. So, and that's what they're after. And the last point I'd just like to add here is, I think at some level, at the meta level, like the idea of intelligence, API, and the data centers and the data sets and all that power it, it may not just be a product that's as a sort of publication, it will be similar to electrical power plant, and so it may need to be financed and built and maintained and thought of.
Thank you. Aditia, Khun Karn?
Okay, so the question is about the opportunities of AI to reduce inequality, right? So my answer would be for applied AI, which is if you want some equality for everyone, for the public, I would think the opportunity is to use applied AI for everybody to be able to access government services. Because there are a lot of services that the government can provide, but we don't know about it. So how do we get people to know about it? We have like a national LLM that is specifically for giving knowledge about government services, and each of the public people could just ask it. For instance, I just knew last month that DBOI has such a promotion for factories that if they do innovation to get industry 4.0, and DBOI will help take that investment and give tax exemption for 5 years. So if you were a factory owner, right? So and you want to lower your tax costs, lower your operating costs, you could just access the government chatbot, LLM, AI, whatever, and just ask it, is there something right now that would benefit my situation? And what kind of services could help with that? And you would get a list, and you can okay, my situation is like this, my factory size is like this. What are the specifics, that data that you need in order to apply for that? So this is just one of the examples that I believe that is an opportunity for all of people to get access, and it will ensure a more quality.
Thank you. Before I go to the third prepared question, all three of you are practitioners in AI. But I think of AI in 3 buckets. The first bucket of the AI is really about predictive AI or analytical AI, where you're feeding in data and then you get an output and it helps you make an optimized decision. The second one, I think most of us are familiar with, is the creative AI, using the ChatGPTs and the Anthropic, and then there's Perplexity, and Grok, et cetera, et cetera. So I think most of us are familiar with the creative AI, but now emerging is the agentic AI. The tool that I use is Manus AI, and it actually performs tasks. For example, I asked it to review my website, and I said, what can I do to improve my website? So, and I gave it the URL. It went in, looked at my website, assessed what my profession is, went to my competitors' websites. I don't know how many of them have it selected, but it did that. And then it came back with a recommendation how I can improve my website against my peers' websites. And that's what Manus AI did for me. It performed all of those tasks on its own with a simple prompt. Which AI are you guys using? I'll ask Matt first. Which of the 3 buckets? Is it predictive AI, is it creative AI, or is it agentic AI, or all 3? All 3.
I think I'm going to go back to some of the comments made earlier. I think, the thing about algorithmic bias
extracting information from that knowledge base, summarizing it, and providing references, so that you're not giving like all kinds of information to a contact network who may or may not know how to discern about your information. So,
Thank you, Aditia. Khun Karn?
Yes, so my company does all the AI that I mentioned, like generative AI, and agentic AI as well. So for agentic AI, I'd like to highlight is that we use it for logistics company, where they usually the truck drivers have to have certain checkpoints or where the call center of the logistics company have to call them to check how they're doing. Are they awake? Are they okay? And even when they go out of the road, the call center will have to ask them what's happening, right? So all of this is standard procedure. So with the standard procedure, use the agentic AI to actually check on the timing, the schedule of the checkpoint, and also the location of the truck. And if anything is according to schedule or out of the plan, the agentic AI will call the driver to check what's happening. And then once they get the driver's answer, they can action on that through the standard procedure. But you might be thinking, okay, so they don't have to hire any call center personnel anymore, right? But no, actually they have the call center personnel focus on anything out of standard, and the AI agent will then forward the call to them. So that's my answer.
Thank you. I know at least one person in the audience, Ken, is in logistics, so he'll probably want to talk to you after. Okay, last question from me is, what is your next AI project about? And I'm going to add on, does it increase or decrease inequality? Over to you, Khun.
So the current project that we're actually working on is with two French professors on air pollution. So they've hired us to help them implement a wide model to analyze going back 60 years worth of media articles about air pollution in key cities in the world. My office is hoping for the ones in Bangkok. So with this data set, they could analyze the trends, who are the stakeholders, everything they want to know about. There's some parameters that they've already defined. And so they're going to take this data and submit it to a journal entry for academia, but then they also gave
So you can think like if Google Analytics is for websites, this AI analytical solution will be for shops. So it's basically that, and it's not actually like for equality or inequality, but we hope to move from the shop environment to other environments as well, because it can be used to analyze the zonings in schools, how they are used, and any potential harmful behavior that could happen in a certain area. And all of that can be quantified and collected data that can help for the managers or to be able to manage the zoning and the area better.
Okay, I'm going to make one comment and then I'll turn it over to you guys for questions. So you did mention in the retail sector and also in the education sector. So I get that in the education sector for the zoning, there might be some safety issues that are being examined. But in the retail sector, it's really about eyeballing the consumer's behavior. And how do they consent to that? Is it because they're in a public building? Is there some sort of nominal consent that they're giving to be viewed by the camera in the sky?
Okay, so for public areas, usually in shopping malls, you will see a sign which is that due to this being a public area and for security reasons, they'll have to use CCTV cameras.
Yes, but that warning is very minimal.
Yes.
And it doesn't say it's being used to examine consumer behavior.
Yes, that's right. So, I believe that they'll have to add some consent to the sign if you enter this shop needs analytics, but in no way will they take the footage and give it to others or leak out any of the privacy.
Okay, thanks. So I know a lot of you in the audience are practitioners of AI, so you might have some burning questions, and even if you're not a practitioner, but perhaps you're using it and you would like to ask some questions of our panel, I'm going to, I guess, pass this microphone around. So Al, you're first.
Sure. Thanks, Grant. Say for argument's sake, not really, I have a classroom full of 12-year-old students. What are 3 essential things I should be teaching them about AI right now? I'd like to know from each of you. What do you think 3, sort of to use the language of melodramatic preteens, what hills would you die on? Or as far as what I should or must be teaching them about AI?
So I think for me, from my personal view, it's if they know the risk, they can protect themselves better. So that's one. How to prompt well, to use the tool as efficient as possible. Because if you're not asking the right questions, prompting correctly, you're just going to get really bad results. And then the third one is, this is just a tool. And there's a trade-off, like anything. So if they over-rely on this tool, sometimes they don't give themselves the space to take on a challenge, to tinker themselves, to find a way to solve. You might seem like, oh, it's easier to use this tool, whereas there's pros and cons to all the tools you use.
That's a great answer. Yeah, I think one is that yes are wrong, and so you can use them, but it's a good practice to make sure that you still read through everything that is given as output, you verify all the references, you read through. So I think if it's generating the content, that's fine, but maybe there's a way to encourage and motivate students to still read everything so that they understand it and they've checked everything. And maybe there's some points deducted if there's fake links that reference. Yeah, I think on the prompting point, I think that's super important because I think sometimes we approach prompting in a somewhat lazy way what the instructions are going to give. And so, yeah, it's better.
Well, all of the previous things you should teach, of course. So using that, I would encourage you to teach them to how to explore more, to get more from the topics of that are taught in schools. So if you thought about the ecosystem, for instance, you should teach them to how do you ask more questions to the AI, to explore more into the details of each of the factors that you're teaching.
Willem.
So when you look at China, right, they have very different ideas on ethics, opportunity, and inequality, and they're building their own versions of activity. Are their versions sort of interconnected with the ones we use? Are like on top of the internet, since all these apps are using the internet? And if they are, how does it impact our usage?
I just went to China to actually get more knowledge about how they use AI. In China, they usually build, they use ChatGPT, some use ChatGPT, but some use Beaty. But they also build their own LLMs, and for specific use cases, because like you all mentioned that the ChatGPT or other AI LLMs, they can get answers wrong. So what they seek is to build their own LLMs that could be tested on a certain subject and get all the answers right, over 90% or 95%. So that is how they use it, and I think they have a good data governance. If you go to China, you will see that their navigation system is actually superior to Google Maps, for instance. And that is because of all the data that they collect.
I think it's almost time, Mike. Maybe I'll do 2 more minutes. Okay, one more question. Back. Sorry, the microphone's over here if you need it. And thank you.
Hi, my name is Jerry, and you've talked a lot about the good use of AI, and I agree there's a lot of good that comes from it, but there's also a lot of bad. Like we talked about how a lot of it is, it finances a lot of conflict zones and like environmental factors, and this is a trend we've seen like throughout history where one part of the world suffers immensely at the benefit of another part of the world. So I was wondering what you see as a solution to this, because as you said, AI isn't going anywhere. So do you think there's a sustainable way for this to happen without the exploitation of a group of people? Thank you.
So from my, actually I was at a conference with the UN on this very issue on mental health. If the issues from the human rights and mining of the rare mineral earths aren't resolved, this issue will never go away. And I think the difficult answer right now is we have supply chains that are set up and how tech utilizes rare minerals and where they're at, and it's really difficult. And they, as a company, push that burden onto governments and other actors. It's like a problem that has to have so many actors involved to solve, kind of like climate action, right? We're not going anywhere with that either. But that's the issue where unless those are resolved, I don't see how they would overcome it because these minerals are limited and finite, and I haven't seen genuine progress. Even though I do see companies going deeper into their supply chain to trace where they're sourcing from, there is some progress in that, but it's nothing like what we've completely cleared up the supply chain.
Aditia, just quickly.
I think it's a great question, and it's perhaps more in when it's paid a small amount. So there's a way for potentially also data creators whose material is out on the internet to get compensated when models are sort of just taking the data.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I understand the question correctly, but I think that organizations, national and also international organizations, could help to bring equality to using AI. And since right now AI is mostly because they're using all the resources and the computing power, and access to that is, of course, is quite expensive. So I believe that if government wants to push that to enable it for the masses, they should put some investment to make it affordable for the middle guy.
Okay, I will wrap up the session to also answer that question. A friend of mine used to work for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and he reported directly to Bill Gates. And I asked him, does the foundation actually watch all the dollars and cents of all the projects they're doing around the world? And he said, no, Bill Gates doesn't actually care about the dollars and cents. He'll spend any amount of money to get an issue on the national agenda or the international agenda. For example, malaria. So I think in terms of exploiting the natural resources that Africa has and other countries around the world, if that's a concern, then it's got to be on the international agenda. And right now, it's not. Look, very diverse backgrounds, very diverse points of view, and I think our panel, we really owe a round of applause to our panel for Okay, next up are the business cases.
Come to Nina.
Okay. I got this.
Very sophisticated artificially intelligent chicken for the time. The chicken doesn't really work, so we just use the space bar.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have the honor to introduce the startup pitches to you since Nayan is on a well-deserved holiday. So tonight we have three fantastic startups pitching. Some of them already active in AI, some of them looking into it. They will tell you all about their impact and vision. So without further ado, let me walk you through the rules. Each startup will get up here, do a 3-minute pitch. After that, Greg will sell chicken. Then there's room for 2 minutes of Q&A from the audience, so prepare your questions. After they are done, a QR code will appear on the screen where you're all invited to leave some feedback for the pitcher of tonight so that they can learn from pitching as well. So let me introduce our first startup of the night. It is Thailand's all-in-one second-hand marketplace, making pre-loved shopping safe, simple, and as seamless as buying new. Please give it up for Louise and Amarin, co-founders of Yours.
when trying to sell them or buy them secondhand online, it's reported that 73% of our responders got scammed on Facebook Marketplace. I was one of them myself. So with this in mind, we need a safe solution for secondhand shopping.
Yes, so there is a rising need for more sustainable ways to shop. But the current platforms available in the market here in Thailand and in Southeast Asia are fragmented and not reliable. So payments are unsafe. Also, like the categories are very limited. There is a lot of data, sensitive data that are shared with no privacy, like your home location address or your bank account details. And also, it's mostly, and especially in Thailand, targeted for Thai audience and not for foreign residents.
So with this in mind, meet yours. We are a C2C marketplace based here in Thailand, where we connect buyers and sellers for second-hand items. So we are an intermediary platform providing safe payment, but also logistics. We handle the door-to-door delivery, again, trying to make it as convenient as possible. So with all our features, people can buy and sell more than clothes. We allow clothes, of course, but also furniture, electronics, books, and more.
Yes, so you can now simply buy from your sofa, your taxi ride, or the beach. But yours is not just a resale marketplace. We are actually building a strong online conscious community and a central hub for circularity in Thailand and Southeast Asia. So actually, we are gathering, buying and selling second-hand items, and also rentals, repairs and upcycling, and donation for those in need. We have launched our platform now back in January this year, and the feedback is very positive. We have now over 600 registered users. We have Proseed more than 150 orders, and we have 2,000 items listed already on the platform. We have a traction that is very good and purely organic, with more than almost 3,000 visitors a month and a product conversion rate of 10.24%.
So right now we are available in Bangkok and have slowly opened the routes to other provinces in Thailand. And we are looking at expanding in Southeast Asia, especially when it comes to Indonesia, Malaysia, but also Philippines and Singapore, as well as Vietnam, that show interest in second-hand shopping. So our TAM is about 12 million users here in Thailand. You can read the numbers on the screen, but when we talk second-hand, we talk big numbers and big opportunities here in Southeast Asia. So with this in mind, we are raising funds for our company.
Yes, so we are raising to actually expand into these new markets, but also to have a tech local team so they can build a strong mobile app for us. And also, okay, yes, I'm going to share it.
Right, so time for questions. There, I'll pass it on the microphone.
Hello. Do you have any plan to further cement or making this circular economy more important in Thailand other than the application itself?
Okay, do you mind repeating the question, please?
Do you have any plans to help motivate the economy of a circular economy, or the culture of a circular economy in Thailand outside of just the application that you develop?
Yes, so we are really looking at actually partnering with local companies as well. So we being part of a network for a circular economy. So right now we are currently partnering, for example, with charities such as Second Chance Bangkok here. So they do upcycling programs. They also work with local designers to kind of like rebrand certain items. So we're really looking at not only doing it through our platform, but also through our network of partners, and also adding an educational element to it by going to universities, speaking with students, because we also need to lead the way for the next generations and show the path.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Hi, I was wondering how you sort of moderate this type of platform, I guess. Like, how are you ensuring that people are legitimately doing things authentically, I guess?
Yeah, so there are a few things, right? First, we are moderating all the items that are listed on the platform, so we are making sure that they are according to the rules that we have implemented in our platform. And also for the transactions, so we are making sure they are safe because we are holding the money. So for example, actually Louise has been scammed because she has sent the money first to the seller and she never received the item. So for us, for example, if today I buy a t-shirt to Louise, first the money is going to go to yours, and then until I receive the item properly, then we're going to release the money. And if I don't receive the item, then I'll be sure I'm going to have the money back. So we are implementing some system where we are making sure that, the transaction is.
Great, thank you very much. Well, we will go on to the next page. Thank you very much. So please get your vote and leave some feedback for Louise and on their pitch tonight. I'll give you a few seconds while I introduce the next startup on stage tonight. Helping hotels win over eco-conscious travelers by turning sustainability efforts into data-backed stories guests can trust. Let's welcome Sam from C-Rex.
Imagine if consumers are rewarded for selecting sustainable hotels. And now imagine if hotels are rewarded for being sustainable. Actually, you don't have to imagine that much. It's already happening. In the EU, there's a sustainability mandate. It's already ongoing for quite a while now. And the majority of the booking platforms like Booking.com and all the OTA platforms are promoting sustainable hotels. But not all hotels are ready for that. Why is that? Despite having some statistics on increased revenue and potential expenses, operational expenses lowering, not all hotels are ready. Well, that's because most hotels are not okay. Can't see the logos yet, but most hotels are not ready because there's too many standards to select. You don't know how to get started. That's one reason. But the other reason is, in the next 24 months, about 10% of all hotel bookings may come from AI recommendations. In time to come, a lot of the bookings may not even have to go through directly on the website. They may happen on the website, the inventory will still be on the website, the payment will still happen on the website, but they may happen through AI means, right? AI recommendations. For example, GEO, that's up and coming. We also have MCP, right? AI talking to AI, right? So that is changing the landscape quite a bit. With SEO, you can throw keywords at Google. Okay? With GEO, you can do a lot better than that, right? Hotels have to better describe themselves, right? And we are well positioned to do that. C-Rex is very well positioned to do that because we hold on to a lot of the data that is used to achieve the standards. So we know their operational details, right? We know, for example, the food compose, where they buy their products from, the car packs, and all of that, right? So that is that. And just want to highlight, this is one of the hotels we have already onboarded. They're called Aptly, and you've got 3 more hotels in the pipeline. All right. On this slide, what I will just go very quickly is that the worldwide booking value stands at about 300 billion, and Thailand and UK alone is 10% of the world booking value. That is about 30 billion. Just now I mentioned that in 24 months' time to 6 months' time, about 10% of the world's hotel booking may come through AI recommendation. That's also the figure, about 10%, right? That's our optimal market. That's actually achieved from 1% of this, but multiplied by 7% because that's the affiliate partners revenue commission. Right? Section. Okay, so over here you see Meta Mama Incubator, right? Meta started their incubator program this year, and then 400 companies applied. Only 20 stars were selected. C-Rex is one of them. Okay. We also have run a pilot with Aditia, this company, Coca-Cola formula, right? And then we help them save $100,000 worth of electricity every year. That's carbon savings. That's done? Okay, all right. Okay.
Sorry, Sam.
No worries.
Thank you. We'll open the floor for a couple of questions. Let me give the other mic to you.
What is your hospitality background, please?
To be honest, my background is more of energy tech and digital products management, right? And then both founders come from energy background. Yeah. So it's actually our first venture into hospitality.
What are you looking for?
In terms of investment, or yeah, we are looking to raise 5 million, right? That is for us to capture the Thailand and the UK market to continue development effort of the product. Yeah.
Any other questions? Right there.
Hi. Of the 5 million, what's the split between sort of development, operations, and marketing?
Right. So product and tech will take about 40%, right? Go to market will be about 55%, and then the 5% will be for our own compliance. We do have to live up, walk the talk and get our own compliance done. For example of that, just a good example, right? I just recently received my ISO 2001 lead auditor qualification for the AI governance. So that's one good example. And of course, to get the company up to speed for all the other certifications.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Any last question for Sam? Hi.
What's the service that you provide to hotels? Like, why does the hotel need you?
Right. So there's a few things. First is we get hotels up to speed in terms of the sustainability certifications. That's one, right? Second of all, we allow them to be, we increase their visibility, increase conversion rate, right? Room occupancy rate. And lastly, with all the AI recommendations coming up, we get them ready for that.
Thank you, Sam. Please give and while I will leave you to scan the pitch evaluation for Sam tonight, I will also introduce the last startup of tonight. Enabling restaurants to use data and design to personalize guest experiences, boost loyalty, and thrive in a digital-first world. Please welcome Khun, co-founder and CTO of Pato Hub.
In Bangkok, we are surrounded by amazing food. However, behind every great meal is the restaurant owner trying their best to thrive in the fast-changing digital world. Hello, Proseed. My name is Khun. You can call me A. I am a CTO and co-founder of Pato Hub. At Pato Hub, our mission is very simple: to empower food entrepreneurs to delight customers and enjoy success. So we work with restaurant chains and smart SMEs who really love and care about their customers to grow with the right tools. In reality, restaurants are good at making food, but they are really struggling with all these tools, like ranging from POS, digital media platform, food delivery apps, Excel, and so on, all disconnected. Even with all that, they don't really know who their customers are or how to bring them back. And that is the problem that we really want to solve. Pato Hub, we provide a one smart connected platform. Pato CRM help the restaurants understand their customers, run loyalty campaign effectively. Pato Delivery gives them their own branded delivery channel, so they don't depend less on third-party services like Grab online. And finally, Pato Dining makes the online the food ordering in the restaurant easier by scanning the QR code, while we are capturing the valuable customer insight. So the restaurant customers can access all these through the Line Messenger, the online control use line. So we don't have that one very easy. The core idea of our platform is very simple. We want to help the restaurant build the flywheel of growth, starting from collecting the data through their own channel, So they really own their relationship with their customers. Second, they can analyze the data using our handle CRM. So they understand who is loyal, who is drifting, how to engage the customers. Finally, they can utilize those insights in their own restaurant or run a marketing campaign to the social media, like TikTok or Facebook, to delight their customers and to keep them coming back. So collect all your customers, analyze, know your customers, finally utilize to delight customers. Repeatable, simple, and it works. We are actually trusted by many Thai restaurant beloved brands such as Barbecue Pasta or If you love food, you love the chef. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any questions for Hato Hub?
Back here.
Yes.
Are you working with restaurants? Are you working with restaurants? Are you only working with restaurants?
Yes.
Restaurants are the only thing to work with.
Yes, we actually focus on restaurants and F&B, general food and beverage, because we want to do industry focus. We don't want to build like tools that work with everyone. I think restaurant has their own kind of unique problems that cannot be solved by generic tools, and you really want to focus on one business. And in Thailand, restaurant is like very cool, and the cool industry and fun industry to work.
You offer a POS as well?
We kind of replace the typical POS by having like a system online instead. So they don't need to deal with like big hardware. So we kind of replace that entirely.
By pitching today, what are your asks?
We are not raising money. We just want to connect with anyone who is interested in the business and want to collaborate or partner or become our customers. So,
do you have your own delivery team?
No, but we are partnering with third-party delivery services. Like for Grab, they also have like delivery service, not the food delivery, but just the delivery. And there are quite many other providers for that.
One last question for Hato Hub.
Thank you so much for your presentation. My question is, how do you solve data privacy issues since you're collecting data from customers?
So yes, data is very important for us. So we try to stick with the standards of data privacy. And in Thailand, we have something called PDPA. So we try to comply with that. And yes, that is very important.
All right, thank you, Principal Secretary. So while I leave the QR code for pitch evaluation up there, thank you for being such an amazing audience for our 3 startups tonight. If you are a startup or know a startup that would like to be up on the stage, please come talk to us after the presentations are finished tonight. And then next up is Nassim for the social pitch of the evening. So can I welcome you to the stage?
Actually, it's a charity pitch. I want to talk about Hands Across the Water. Hands Across the Water is a charity that was established in the wake of the 2004 tsunami, when a lot of children were left without parents. These guys take care of orphans. When you went to school, one of your parents bought you a book for you. make sure that you are studying. You didn't have to worry that your pencil is out and you need a new one because your mom supplied or your father did. These kids don't have parents. These kids have us, society at large. If we donate, they get to have their textbook, their notebook, they get to have a computer, they get to have the opportunity to learn. We all read and write. These kids, without our help, won't be reading and writing, won't be going far. If you want to make sure they get the opportunity, if you want to live up to talking about inequality and doing something about it, help these kids, donate. The donations to Hands Across the Water that we make do not contribute to the admin and the people who work for that. They go directly to the children. For the admin cost, Hands Across the Water has corporate donors that take care of it. So whatever you donate goes directly to the education of orphans. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I agree, it's freezing cold in here. Sorry. I think we have only one thing left, which is our reciprocity ring. Our reciprocity ring is a very simple concept. In this room right now, there are, I'd say, about 40 people, and each one of those 40 people knows to follow through the Anbar at least 150 people. The format is very simple. You state your name, you say, hi, my name is Mike. Today, I am looking for the second-hand computer that you have at home. It's not your previous laptop, it's your previous laptop. The ones that are lying inside the cupboard, underneath the clothes, and slowly gathering dust. And you can't let go of it, because it's a laptop. But if you do let go of it, it will provide an opportunity for a child to study. So, dig into your cupboard, do this, find that laptop, don't look at it, put it in your bag and bring it over here. And we will find a new loving home for it. Asim will format it and it will do good for society. So very simple. My name, my ask, that's it. If you break the format, I take away the microphone. Very simple. So name and ask. Yes? Who wants to give me a computer? Willem, you have a computer for me, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You have an ask, Willem?
No.
No. Nina, you have an ask?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. Hi, I'm Nina, and today my ask is for participants this Sunday. I'm organizing a climate science workshop Sunday afternoon. So anyone interested in learning more about climate change or the science behind it, please come talk to me.
Stormy, you're going next.
Hi, I'm Yuri. We're moving office and we have extra furniture and they're in good condition. In case anybody needs some, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nui is donating furniture to somebody. Yes, next.
Donate some.
Selling. Selling furniture, sorry.
I'll donate some computers for you.
Any asks? You need a job, you have a job, you have something that you want to sell or donate, you have an event. Gone. Thank you very much, everyone. And so, before we go to the beer, you have to do one last thing for me, which is you have to choose which is the next topic for our event, right? You have the opportunity. If you want to talk about net zero or net noise, corporate climate action in ASEAN, raise your hand. Otherwise, wait. If you want to talk about US-ASEAN current threats and opportunities, you raise your hand. So option one, we want to talk about climate change. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you don't count. You're going to be here. You'll be away. Fine. That's it. Your guests will honor your vote. Raise your hands if you want to talk about climate change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, roughly. If you want to talk about ASEAN tariffs, threats, and opportunities, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, yeah. Who knows how many times climate change has been voted down in history? It's the 4th time. encourage you very strongly to put 100 baht in the donation box. All that money goes to charity. If you don't have cash on you, you can transfer to me. Tomorrow I count all the cash and post the donation. Thank you very much. You want to stay in touch, the top QR code as far as of Proseed WhatsApp group. That is the most active group we have. Go ahead.
Yes.